Hey, it's CVV, Chris Van Vliet, and you have to check out the fastest rising podcast in all of professional wrestling. I'm talking about the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast. If you're looking for pay-per-view predictions, if you're looking for pay-per-view reviews, if you're looking for interviews, check out the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast.
Crash and Burn!
Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast, the fastest wrestling podcast in all of professional wrestling, where we are back with another fantasy bookend episode. And at the time of recording, tomorrow night is the Royal Rumble. So why not celebrate Royal Rumble weekend by doing another fantasy bookend episode, since there's no NXT TakeOver tonight at the time of recording. So, anyways, let's bring in everybody who's going to be fantasy booking their own brands. First up, it's Nicholas.
Hello everybody. Welcome back to some more fantasy booking. I've been waiting a long month to do this again. I freaking loved the last time we did it, and I'm happy to be here once again for a little old New Japan Pro Wrestling action going on for me over here. So, yeah, let's see what everybody else is going to come up with. I am excited to see. Let's do it.
All right. Next up, it's the man who started this idea, Mr. Wyatt.
Yes, it's 10 o'clock at night. I finally waited all day. I've waited a whole long month to do this. And yes, we are doing a fantasy booking episode. The idea that I came up with my wonderful imaginary brain, and we're all going to use our incredible imagination to studio these storylines, which are 0%.
Heck yeah.
Which everything I'm booking probably is going to be 0% possible because you know how wrestling is nowadays. But we're going to go around. We're going to be checking out how everyone has their fantasy storylines, and we hope to entertain you all as we do this 1 month tradition. So let's take it along to Miss Ryleigh.
Yep. And anyways, last but not least, it's our first time doing these fantasy booking episodes. These are a lot of fun and creatives. Ryleigh.
I've never done this before, so if my show is as bad as Raw currently is, then I'm sorry. But
It's all good.
we're just gonna go with it. We're gonna go with it.
Well,
I'm
first
pretty
off,
confident, so.
First off, it's okay. It's your first time doing these type of episodes, so.
Yeah.
So guys, do not shit on Ryleigh for this, okay?
Go.
Don't.
Or I'm going to come back.
That's right. Anyways, I'm doing NXT. Nick, what is your brand?
I will be doing New Japan Pro Wrestling, just like last time. I'm going to be continuing with the same storylines and all that. So.
Wyatt, what are you doing?
Raw.
Ryleigh?
SmackDown.
Okay, so kicking off with the signings, Nick, who do you have signed?
All right, I got some signings here. I've kept quite a lot of the people I had from the previous little signing excursion that we had last time. But here's the updated list. I have Mustafa Ali, Kenta Kobashi, Drew Gulak, Paul Ellering, Nick Dinsmore, a.k.a. Eugene. I have Israel Adesanya from UFC, Speedball Mike Bailey, Cameron Grimes. He's coming to New Japan. Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. He's been drafted here from SmackDown. Naomichi Marufuji. I got Jonathan Gresham from Ring of Honor. Antonio Inoki. I have the Great Muta, Vladimir Kozlov, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Abdul the Butcher, Chad Gable, Jason Jordan, Oksana, Big Van Vader, All Ego, Ethan Page, and Ilya Dragunov. As well as Joe Rogan and Mike Goldberg for special reasons.
Okay, and the people I have for NXT signed are Akira Tozawa, Tucker, the Viking Raiders, Humberto Carrillo, Lindsay Dorado. From Minecraft, my favorite video game, which most of you here know, I have Steven Alex, I have Titus O'Neil, Nia Jax, and representing the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast as well as the Moshcast, the assassin Josh Danker. And from my favorite horror game, I have Foxy from Five Nights at Freddy's. Wyatt, who's your signings for Raw?
All right. So as of signings, Yeah, as of last episode, of course, I still have remaining. I still have Rob Van Dam, Dexter Loomis, Rinku and Surov. I have Brian Kendrick and Paul London, Alex Ryleigh. I also have, as I look here, I believe all the same people on Monday Night Raw, and also from the Crash and Burn Wrestling podcast. You better he'll make you go find your bed on Monday night. Antwan Clark.
Oh wow, Riley, who do you have signed for SmackDown?
I just got John Moxley. I got Leah Rush. Nikki Cross, the Bella Twins, and then my personal favorite new signings. I got Sam, Francis, Shaq.
You animal simp.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I got Moose. I got Dave.
Damn.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I
Shout
have,
out
and
to
then
everyone
everybody
that
else.
owns those pets.
Yep.
Oh, very quickly, I forgot to mention I also got Wyatt. I forgot to freaking put that down.
We got
Sorry
Mr.
about
Wyatt
that.
here from,
Yes.
of course, the Crash and Burn Wrestling podcast.
Yes. That is, of course, for personal reasons that we will not mention on this podcast. But, yeah, I think you'll see how I feel when the booking starts.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Oh, believe me, I'm very pissed off. I hate plan.
Just sit back and relax and enjoy my booking. I'll enjoy yours if you enjoy mine.
Okay.
Ooh, a rivalry here.
Let's not get into any heat here. Jason, what's next are we talking about?
The releases. So sad. I only have 2 releases. Well, more like trades at this case. I got rid of, unfortunately, Karrion Kross, and I, of course, took out Dexter Loomis.
No, I gave you back Karrion Kross.
Oh, you did? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have one release then. Alright, so Karrion Kross is a signee.
And I took Rinku and Surov.
Okay, well, Wyatt, who do you have got rid of?
As of releases, I released the same people from last time, so the people that I released last time, go check out the last fantasy booking, and updated on releases. I just released Eric so he could be with Ivar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wyatt.
So I'm being a nice guy.
Ryleigh, who did you get rid of?
As I know of, I got rid of 2 people, which I got rid of Aleister Black and Chad Gable.
Damn.
Okay.
I thought you were Mark Sullivan.
Maybe this is one of the reasons I have heat with you, Wyatt.
I mean,
It's not real, everybody. Okay, it's not real. It's
Don't worry.
Facebook stuff.
Don't worry. All 4 of them.
Okay.
Script.
In reality, Nick and Wyatt are on good terms.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a disclaimer here. I had to break kayfabe for a minute.
No, don't worry. This is all
I don't want
part
to
of
be
the
a
plot.
kayfabe. I want to be a general manager.
Yes, I want to be the anonymous Raw general
Back
manager.
in character.
All right.
Who have you got rid of?
Me? I got rid of John Moxley, Jay White, and Tetsuya Naito, and then I got Jay White back because I panicked and realized I didn't have a main event division. So, did I get rid of anything else? Anybody else? I don't think so. I think those were the only 2 I got rid of. So yeah.
Okay. Rivalries. Mine happens to be Mr. Josh Danker versus Foxy in a last man standing match.
Ooh.
Yeah. Minecraft Steven Alex versus the Undisputed Era in a tag team match for the NXT tag team titles. And after Nia Jax learns how to fucking wrestle,
Nice.
she will face Io Shirai for the NXT Women's title.
Excellent.
And Akira Tozawa versus Finn Balor in a Falls Count Anywhere match for the NXT title.
Who's fighting Finn Balor?
Akira Tozawa.
Oh, okay.
and Tucker versus Johnny Gargano in a singles match for the NXT North American title.
How good is that rating gonna get?
All right. Ryleigh, who do you have feuding?
So my first match is something I've always wanted to see. It's AJ Lee versus Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's title. And then another one I have is some lucha wrestling going on. We've got Kalisto versus Andrade for the Intercontinental title.
Ooh,
Okay.
that sounds really good, actually.
See, maybe Vince should hire me.
Mm.
And then we've
Yes.
got a 2 out of 3 Shield reunion going on. We've got Roman and Moxley versus Ray and Dominic
Hell
versus
yeah.
the Street Profits for the SmackDown Tag Team titles.
Josh is gonna be
Ooh.
blushing.
And then we've got Trish
Josh,
and Lita
if you're
versus
watching
Ruby
this,
Riott and Liv.
blush well.
Blush well. And then we've got Trish and Lita versus Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan versus the Bella Twins for the women's tag team titles.
Ooh.
And
Thanks to me, I
then,
gave you them titles.
and then this is my personal favorite match. With my new signees, I put them in a fatal 6-way. We've got Sam versus Francis versus. I can't be serious for this. I'm sorry.
Prince is great.
We've got,
Oh.
and there's Shaggy up there at the top.
Yeah.
We've got Sam
Oh,
versus
God.
Francis.
Uh-oh.
He's gonna show us.
Mystery attacker. Wyatt's been assaulted backstage. I think Andre the Giant assaulted Wyatt backstage. That was the storyline.
I think Big Cass attacked me backstage like he did to Enzo.
Oh no! Like he attacked a small person friggin' 3 years
We've got
ago.
Francis
Oh, no.
right there.
Oh no!
So yeah, it'd be Sam versus Francis versus Shaggy versus Daisy versus Ruby and Moose, and whoever wins will be my manager.
Oh,
Wonder how
That's
gonna
my
turn out.
show.
Wow.
love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is that all you have?
Yep.
Okay, Nick, you're up next for your storyline. I mean,
All
your rivalries.
For this is like storylines and match card as well. Is that what?
No.
this is?
It's all feuds.
Just rivalries. Just rivalries. All right.
Rivalry.
All right. My first rivalry that I have. This is I guess this is kind of a small one. 2 small ones. I have Great Muta versus Mil Muertes. I'm gonna go more into depth than that later. I have Kenta Kobashi versus Samoa Joe as a rivalry as well. A little old school thing. I have Mustafa Ali versus Taichi for the IWGP United States Championships. I have for the Never Openweight Championship. I have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shinsuke Nakamura. For the Junior Heavyweight Championship, I have Drew Gulak versus the former Cameron Grimes, now Trevor Lee. For the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, I have Minoru Suzuki versus the former Cesaro, Claudio Castagnoli. For the title of King of Pro Wrestling, I have former UFC star Israel Adesanya taking on Kurt Angle. Israel Adesanya has Josh Barnett in his corner, while Kurt Angle has Jim Cornette in his corner. And my main feud for New Japan, for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, it will be Kota Ibushi versus Kazuchika Okada. Boom. There we go.
All right. Wyatt, who is yours?
Are we doing rivalries or storylines?
Rivalries.
Okay, when are we doing storylines?
In a bit.
Okay. All right, for my rivalries, rivalries that don't have a storyline, I'm gonna get them done real quick. You have Jinder Mahal versus Dexter Lumis, Kofi Kingston versus Xavier Woods. You have the Hurricane versus Angel Garza for the 24/7 Championship. You have Keith Lee versus AJ Styles versus Sheamus versus The Miz for the United States Championship. You've got Drew McIntyre versus Dabba-Kato with Christian at ringside. You've got Rob Van Dam with Peyton Royce against R-Truth. You have the Hurt Business versus Brian Kendrick and Paul London versus Rinku and Surab with Jinder Mahal. Out versus Alex Riley and Riddick Moss versus Elias and Jackson Riker for the Raw Tag Team Championship.
Jesus.
You got Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley in a UFC Octagon match. You have Lacey Evans versus Mickie James versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. You've got Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, Riddle, and a partner they're choosing versus Retribution. And the main feud of Monday Night Raw, you have Bray Wyatt versus Edge for the WWE Championship.
All right. Anyways,
Yeah.
before we get to the storylines and champions, let's get this out of the way real quick. The broadcast team. So, commentators for me is Vic Joseph, Wade Barrett, and Nigel McGuinness. My ring announcer is Mike Earl. My interviewer is Kayla Braxton. Wyatt, what is your Raw broadcast team?
All right, my Raw commentary team. I've got Tom Phillips, Jerry the King Lawler, and JBL for commentary. And for backstage interviewing, I guess I've got God, I don't even know now because you took Caleb Braxton from me.
Uh-oh.
You can have from AEW Dasha Gonzalez.
No. You know what? I got Josh Matthews. I don't really care.
Okay. Who's your ring announcer?
My ring announcer is Tony Chimo.
Okay. Ryleigh, who is your SmackDown broadcast team?
For announcers, I have Michael Cole and Corey Graves, and for the backstage interview, I have Renee Young, and for the ring announcer, I have Greg Hamilton.
Nick, what's yours?
All right. For commentary, my main commentary team is going to be Jim Cornette and Josh Barnett. However, for a special occasion on this card, I have Joe Rogan and Mike Goldberg coming in from UFC. For backstage people, I have Kevin Kelly, Katsuyori Shibata, and Anja the Giant acting as interviewers or whatever. For announcer,
Your ring announcer?
Yeah, my main ring announcers are, if I can friggin' pronounce their names correctly, Kazuo Yamazaki and Makoto Abe are my ring announcers, and my trainers are Spike Dudley, Hardcore Holly, and Mil Mascaras.
All right. Now let's move on to storylines and champions. Now I'll finish mine's up, and then you guys can get to yours.
Yeah,
So,
definitely stay tuned for mine.
You know why you'll go last then?
Fine.
Because I know you have a lot to say. So why not save the person who has the most to say for last? Anyways, for champions, Akira Tozawa is the new NXT champion. Minecraft Steven Alex is the new NXT Tag Team champions. Tucker is the new NXT North American champion. And Nia Jax is the new NXT Women's champion. And for storylines, Tucker wins title at NXT TakeOver War Games. Finn Balor retains the title at NXT TakeOver 31, but loses it to Akira Tozawa at TakeOver War Games. Nia Jax wins the NXT Women's title at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. Minecraft Steven Alex win the tag titles at TakeOver In Your House. Foxy defeats Josh at TakeOver Portland. And that's it for my fantasy booking. Hope you all enjoyed my fantasy booking part. Nick.
Yeah, I have a lot to say as well. So, Ryleigh can go. Honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you go.
Okay, so Ray and Dominic.
Go ahead, finish yours up.
Okay, so we have Ray and Dominic winning the SmackDown Tag Team titles, and we've got AJ Lee winning the SmackDown Women's title. And then we've got Andrade winning the IC title. We've got Trish and Lita winning the Women's Tag Team titles. I still don't have a manager because the match ended in a no disqualification, so we still don't know who my manager is. And for a storyline, I just kind of came up with this off the top of my head. So basically, Titus O'Neil runs to the ring. He trips and he falls and slides under the ring, gets attacked, but we don't know who did it. Turns out it was a. You have Hornswoggle.
Invasion.
That's right. I
Anyway.
did Hornswoggle.
And then the next week, he comes out, gets dragged under the ring. Turns out it was the Undertaker. So then they start having a.
Oh no!
Wow.
What did Tyson O'Neil do to piss off the Undertaker?
He went under the ring and disturbed his peace.
Undertaker had a hidden food stash under the ring, and friggin' O'Neil wounded, so now he's gonna kill him. Oh jeez. All right. I guess I'll go now.
All right, is that it, Ryleigh?
Yep.
All right, Nick, go to finish yours up.
All right. So this is gonna be canonically after Wrestle Kingdom 15, which I did last fantasy booking, so for people with some good memory, hopefully you remember some of the shit I did back then. So here we go. After the last Wrestle Kingdom, Great Muta and Mil Muertes both get signed. So they go into a feud basically because Great Muta feels like Mil Muertes is disturbing his peace, he's disturbing his domain. He feels that New Japan is his sort of spiritual battleground to conquer, and that Mil Muertes, the god of death of sorts, is he's trespassing. And so they have basically an all-out brawl at Wrestle Kingdom 16. Absolutely balls to the walls, insanity, friggin' pyro explosions and whatever, all sorts of weird friggin' mystical stuff because they're two mystical people. And the match ends in a double count out because I am too much of a coward to friggin' put either one of them over the other. And basically they end up like on top of the friggin' rafters or whatever, and they basically toss each other off of the rafters into like friggin', I don't know, a wooden area or whatever, and they basically drag each other to hell. Basically, that is the storyline of it all, and no explanation as to whether they are dead or not. Then we have basically Kenta Kobashi loses to Kazuchika Okada at the last Wrestle Kingdom. He's feeling down. And Samoa Joe, it is learned, has signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So Kenta Kobashi, he wants to get back into it. He wants to prove that he still has what it takes. He feels that the loss to Okada has truly broken him, but that he needs to put the pieces back together, and that starts with fighting against a credible opponent, and I feel Samoa Joe is perfect for that. Joe is not eager to get back into the ring with Kenta Kobashi because the last time those two fought back in 2005, Samoa Joe lost to him. So Kenta Kobashi, he pulls some shenanigans, and he freaking, I don't know, he goes after Joe's family or whatever, and Joe's like, no, stop. And they have a match, basically. In the end, Kenta Kobashi goes full-on heel, referee isn't looking, low blows Samoa Joe, and hits him with like 3 lariats and pins him. So Kenta Kobashi has beaten Samoa Joe, and he's gotten the recognition that he deserves, but at what cost? Next, after Wrestle Kingdom, somehow, here we go. Hiroki Goto and Tomohiro Ishii, they lose the tag team titles to Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa of the Bullet Club. However, there's controversy, as in that match, one of them clearly uses a foreign object. The referee wasn't looking. However, who was looking was Antonio Inoki, who is basically the president of New Japan at this point. And he's like, no, we're not doing that. But I also don't feel like giving Goto and Ishii the belts back because I'm a jackass. So I'm going to keep the titles vacant because we have so many cool tag teams around here. And at Wrestle Kingdom, we're going to have a 6-team gauntlet match to determine the new New Japan Pro Wrestling IWGP Unified Tag Team Champions, because in this universe, I've combined the heavyweight and junior heavyweight tag belts. But I'm going to randomize 2 teams. They're going to be 2 teams that aren't actually usually together. So he does sort of a random friggin' rolling thing, kind of like the TNA One Night Only thing. The first team he draws up is Bruce Robinson and Hiroshi Tanahashi as a tag team. And so that's one of the teams that's going to be randomized. And the next random team he puts together, Evil from Bullet Club and Sonata from wherever the hell he is, from nice. Chaos. So they've been reunited, but those two hate each other very much since Evil betrayed LIJ, not Chaos. Sorry about that. So the story of this match is, can Evil and Sonata, can they keep it together? Can they not let blows come to blows? And can they overcome all the odds and win the IWGP Unified Tag Belts? So they start off as number 1. It's not like they have to like win for one match. They have to go through 5 different teams to win. So they start off with Toru Yano and Tomohiro Ishii from Chaos, since in storyline in this mode, Goto is injured. They nearly come to blows, but they manage to beat Yano Ishii. Then the third team to enter will be Tommy End and Jeff Cobb. Tommy End has joined the United Empire with Will Ospreay, Great O'Khan, and Bea Priestley, as well as Jeff Cobb. So they're a tag team as well. Once again, they showing a little bit of a sign of team, but every once in a while they nearly accidentally punch the other. They knock one another off the ropes, maybe trip each other on accident. But somehow, by some miracle, Evil ends up rolling up Jeff Cobb, and they get the pin. They beat Tommy End and Jeff Cobb. Then out comes the super team of Juice Robinson and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Many people bet on them to win, even though they're an odd team. You got Tanahashi in there. He's a freaking megastar, so you'd expect him to win. They almost lose. Both Evil and Sanada get hit by Robinson and Tanahashi's finishers. Both somehow manage to kick out. Somehow, some way. And by some unexplainable stroke of luck, Evil collapses before Tanahashi can hit a flying high fly flow. He crashes and burns on the mat, and Juice tries to help him recover, but then Sanada friggin' throws Robinson out of the ring, hits the barricade. The Evil and Sanada do whatever double team move they have, and 1, 2, 3, they beat the super team of Robinson and Tanahashi, and out comes team number 5, the team that felt they deserved to win the tag titles, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, who, may I remind you, are in Bullet Club with Evil. So they're like, yo, we're good. We're both good, right? We kind of want those belts. We kind of earned those belts. So would you mind laying down for us, Evil? And so Evil's left with a decision. Does he lay down for his buddies, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, to sort of keep together with Bullet Club? Or does he keep going on the role that he's been with Sanada and continue down this road? Evil cannot decide because Sanada makes the decision for him and ends up going after Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Evil sort of just stays in the corner. He doesn't really know what to do, and he's watching as God take over. They beat the hell out of Sanada. Sanada's reaching out to him, begging him for the tag, saying, come on, we've gone so far. We can't let this go. We can't let this go, please. And Evil doesn't know what to do. He's so conflicted over all the memories of him betraying Sanada, all the anger, the frustration from that, his loyalty to Bullet Club, how they gave him a world title. It's too much for him. But then at one moment, Sanada finally is able to break free, and he makes the tag to Evil. He steps into the ring, Tonga Loa looking at him, looking to see what he does. He just stands there. He doesn't know what to do. There's just so much going through his head that he can't decide. He can't come to terms with it. So God, being the absolute jackasses they are, they attempt to go after him with the same foreign object that they tried to use to win the tag titles with. When he's not looking, they end up missing him, and they hit Sanada. Referee doesn't see it because Tonga Loa is Gato, who's at ringside, is distracting the ref. And Evil says, screw it. Referee's not looking. Low blows Tama Tonga, rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Beat God. And so he hasn't technically broken up with Bullet Club, but he's like, you know what? We're going to the end. Me and Sonata, we're going to the end. Whoever's coming out next, last team, we're going to kick their asses. And Bullet Club was like, why the hell did you do that? What the hell? And everybody's kind of on the side of Sonata and Evil right now. They're like, come on, let's do this. The last team, the Briscoe brothers, from out of nowhere, people lose their shit. This ROH tag team from out of nowhere shows up, and Evil and Sonata had not prepared for this. And knowing the Briscoe brothers, they aren't being, the kind friggin' traditional tag teams. They just beat the living hell out of Evil Sonata, throw everything out the window, throw all expectations out the window, and they hit them with whatever tag team finisher they have. I think it's like the friggin' side plex elbow drop. I don't know. I think it's something like that. 1, 2, 3. The Briscoe brothers are your new IWGP Unified Tag Team Champions. So that was a long explanation for the tag titles. Next, we have a fatal 4-way match to determine the number one contender for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. It's going to be Hiromu Takahashi versus Speedball Mike Bailey versus Taiji Ishimori versus El Phantasmo. The explanation for this. Back in August, you had two Junior Heavyweight tournaments going on. You had the Best of the Super Juniors and the Super J Cup tournament. Basically, traditionally, the winners of those two tournaments would go on to fight each other at Wrestle Kingdom to determine who the number one contender is. However, in a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence, the finals of both tournaments, Ishimori versus Mike Bailey and Takahashi versus El Phantasmo, both go to a draw, both go to a time limit draw. And so Antonio Inoki, at the last second, goes, you know what? Let's have a fatal 4-way at Wrestle Kingdom, since I'm a freaking mark for fatal 4-way matches. And so those four do friggin' lucha stuff, cruiserweight stuff, friggin' flips out of the ring and all sorts of stuff. No time limit because Inoki has tired of that. And in the end, a massive upset as Speedball Mike Bailey gets the victory, pinning former champion Takahashi in a shocking upset, and he will have a future title opportunity against either Gulak or Trevor Lee. Then, and Wyatt has just freaking left.
He'll be back.
He's back. All right. Glad to have you back, buddy. All right. Then we have the Never Openweight 6-man tag titles on the line, as the new faction of Vindicta will take on United Empire for the Never Openweight 6-man tag team titles. Here's the story for this. Before Wrestle Kingdom 15, back before the first fantasy booking, Mustafa Ali joined Suzuki-gun as a sort of kind of enforcer of sorts, kind of an extra pair of hands. And Suzuki and Taichi won the 6-man tag titles. However, Mustafa Ali, kind of like in WWE, he's feeling kind of left out. He's feeling like sort of a background character, almost being sort of manipulated by Suzuki-gun. So, in a shocking move at Dominion, he turns on Suzuki-gun and aligns with El Phantasmo, El Desperado, Robbie Eagles, and who else was it? It was those two and Bushi. All four of them leave their faction. All five of them leave their factions and form this new team called Vindicta, which is Latin for vengeance. To get vengeance on these big companies, big groups like Suzuki-gun, like WWE, like New Japan, who have forgotten them, who have basically put in the sidelines, tried to manipulate them, and they have started to make quite a mark as Vindicta has won the Never Openweight 6-man tag titles. However, in doing so, in establishing this against all odds persona, going against the establishment, they've pissed off United Empire, who in the last fantasy booking had a feud with Bullet Club over these same reasons. United Empire, which is, of course, Will Ospreay, Great O'Khan, and Bea Priestley, they're like, no, we freaking went to war with this already. We've proven that we are the against establishment team. We are the outliers. You can't just come here now and do this. We'll kick your asses if you think that you're shit compared to us. So now you're having a 6-man Never Openweight tag title match. For the first time ever, a woman is competing for the Never Openweight 6-man tag titles, as Bea Priestley will be teaming with Will Ospreay and Great O'Khan to take on Bushi, El Desperado, and who was the other guy? Friggin' I need to remember. Oh, Robbie Eagles. Insane match. Bea Priestley friggin' doing some crazy stuff. Great O'Khan friggin' choke slams Robbie Eagles to a table at some point. Will Ospreay and Bushi are competing to see who could do the craziest flips. And in the end, friggin' Mustafa Ali runs in, does an interference, and costs United Empire the match. Vindicta retain the titles, but Mustafa Ali has drawn the ire of Will Ospreay, which may come back to haunt him, as later that night, Mustafa Ali is defending the United States Championship against Taichi. Taichi, of course, a member of Suzuki-gun and a former tag partner of Mustafa Ali with the Never Openweight tag belts. Feels betrayed, obviously. Mustafa Ali basically comparing Taichi, his very over-the-top persona, this opera gimmick, basically saying, you are a part of the establishment. You are part of this evil group that I have been trying to rid the earth of. And so I will get rid of my sins to being associated with you at Wrestle Kingdom. I will destroy whatever traces of Suzuki-gun is left on me. So they have this match and Wrestle Kingdom. Ali, pretty dominant, telling Taichi, "You're not worth it. You're basically being controlled by Minoru Suzuki. You need him. You need all these people. You're nothing without them." Basically, sort of a sort of underdog story of sorts for Taichi. He does make a comeback. He gets a couple of close near falls on Mustafa Ali. And just when it seems like Taichi might get the win, Vindicta, Phantasmo, Desperado, Robbie Eagles, all of them come out to interfere. However, United Empire come out, as well as Suzuki-gun, to act as backup, attacking Vindicta, getting a sort of vengeance of their own against them. And when the referee is distracted by all of it, Will Ospreay runs into the ring with the United States Championship belt to go after Mustafa Ali. Runs in, tries to hit him with a belt. Mustafa Ali ducks, and Will Ospreay inadvertently hits Taichi in the back of the head with the belt. And Ospreay goes, "Oh shit!" And Mustafa Ali hits him with the belt that's now lying on the floor, puts Taichi in the middle of the ring, goes up to the top rope, 054, which he probably calls something else now, but I freaking can't come up with a name right now on the fly. Referee's not distracted anymore. 1, 2, 3. Mustafa Ali retains the IWGP United States Championship. Next, for the Never Openweight Championship, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura has come back to New Japan, and as part of this, he's like, I tend to want to be a part of the most important moments in New Japan, Even when I hold the secondary titles, when I hold the Intercontinental title, I main event Wrestle Kingdom. So, whatever the most important belt is in New Japan, I'm going to go after it. However, I know everyone's been saying some good stuff about the heavyweight title division, but I've heard a lot of people have been saying some stuff about Zack Sabre Jr. and his pure wrestling title he's got here, the Never Openweight Championship. I think I want that belt. So Zack Sabre Jr., he beat Jonathan Gresham last year at Wrestle Kingdom, and he's been calling himself the pure champion of wrestling. He goes after Shinsuke Nakamura, criticizes him for going sports entertainment, saying, "You abandoned us. You abandoned the so-called pure wrestling that you say that you love so much. Yet you have the ball. You have you have the balls to seriously come back here and claim that you're all for Puroresu. You're here for this pure strong style. Weren't you the one that dropped the title of King of Strong Style when you went to them? Weren't you the one that dropped that gimmick? Weren't you the one that was going as the artist, this perfect Renaissance man? You've betrayed my art. I could care less if somebody else is calling themselves the pure wrestler of the world. But what I hate more than that is someone who called themselves that, who truly did embody that and abandoned it. When I worked so hard to get here, and yet you claim you're going to come back here and take that away from me. Screw you. I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to break your arms. I'm going to break your legs. I'm going to break your will at Wrestle Kingdom. So these two have a brutal match. Both men very technical, just going after each other's limbs. Zack Sabre Jr. focusing on the arms. Nakamura going after the legs. Going after the back of Sabre Jr., preventing him from really standing. Basically, they're very even. Despite everything Sabre Jr. said about Shinsuke Nakamura abandoning this pure style of pro wrestling, he still has it. And Sabre Jr. wasn't anticipating that. And if anything, he looks kind of desperate. And he's looking for a break somehow. And he finally gets that, which is Nakamura makes a fatal error. He still has all this pure wrestling in him. He still is sort of the king of strong style. But that pro wrestling, that entertainment aspect has bled into him and makes him make one mistake. He goes for the crowd. He goes for the crowd pleaser. He goes for the friggin' Kinshasa taunt. And it costs him. He warns Sabre Jr., and Jr. takes the freaking opportunity, does the freaking 20-second taunt, and Jr. just freaking runs at him, knees him in the face, just elbows him, freaking UFC type style finish, just absolutely batters him with elbows. Nakamura has no idea what to do. He's nowhere at this point. And he basically, Sabre Jr. grabs both of his arms, does basically the rings of Saturn, except he, using both of his legs, just crush his arms. His shoulder blades are starting to pop out. He's grabbing his leg, basically just turning him into a human pretzel. And Nakamura taps out. Zack Sabre Jr. beats Shinsuke Nakamura, and he is no longer this king of strong style. There's a new king of strong style. There's a new true pure wrestler, and that is Zack Sabre Jr. And he is the longest reigning never openweight champion in New Japan history. Next, quicker one, junior heavyweight championship match. Drew Gulak defending against Trevor Lee. Sort of a similar sort of story to Zack Sabre Jr. and Shinsuke Nakamura. Sports entertainment sellout. Trevor Lee comes back to sort of establish himself once again in the indie scene, New Japan, and Drew Gulak doesn't like that. Two of them have a match, crazy flips and whatever, technical wrestling and whatever. Cameron Grimes nearly gets the victory, but Drew Gulak ends up getting the roll-up victory on Cameron Grimes. The next match is Minoru Suzuki versus Claudio Castagnoli, a.k.a. Cesaro, for the Intercontinental Championship. Two of the hardest hitters in wrestling. Minoru Suzuki won the title from Filthy Tom Lawler in an absolutely brutal encounter at Dominion. And now Cesaro wants that belt. Claudio Castagnoli wants that belt. Two have an absolutely brutal match. It's been a theme throughout the show that all these wrestlers have just having absolute barn burners, sort of MMA style fights. Cesaro and Suzuki just hitting each other with constant uppercuts and forearms. You can hear them throughout the entire arena. They're not even trying to hide. They're not even trying to pretend that this is fake. This is real. This is some real shit they're doing to each other. Nakamura. Why do I keep saying Nakamura? Dear God. Cesaro friggin' hits a bunch of uppercuts on the outside. Does a Cesaro swing. Throws Suzuki into the corner post. And Suzuki starts laughing at him, basically. That starts to disturb Cesaro, hits him with another few uppercuts. Suzuki's just smiling at him. He's friggin' taking him like a beast, and he doesn't care. Claudio just keeps hitting him, but Suzuki, he's developed that strong friggin' chin. He couldn't give a shit what the hell he does to him. Cesaro, he tries to hit another spinning uppercut. Suzuki catches him in the choke, catches him in the sleeper hold. That's usually followed up with the package pile. Well, no, the friggin' pile driver, whatever it's called, the Gotch style pile driver. However, he makes a mistake. Common theme in the show as well. He hits the ropes. He decides to do a clothesline and gets caught with a freaking pop-up uppercut by Cesaro. Cesaro catches him, friggin' hits him with a couple of chops across the forehead, discus uppercut, and then he goes, instead of doing the neutralizer, gets him in the Gotch-style position, Gotch pile driver, his original finisher and Suzuki's own finisher. 1, 2, 3. Claudio Castagnoli, Cesaro, is your new IWGP Intercontinental Champion. He's getting interviewed in the ring by Katsuyori Shibata, basically saying, you know what, I'm here in New Japan. I'm here to prove that I am what all these fans have been telling the world, the companies, that I am. I am one of the best wrestlers. I'm one of the most underrated wrestlers on earth, and I've just proved it. I've beaten Minoru Suzuki. I don't think you can get better than that. And then, out of nowhere, just in the corner of your eye, if you just look at the corner of your screen, you see two people jump the barricade. And everyone doesn't really acknowledge it as anything because the commentators aren't saying anything about it. But then these two mysterious figures rush into the ring and go after Cesaro to start beating him down. They go after a down Minoru Suzuki. They take him out. And one of them hits him with a Uranagi through a Japanese announce table. And those tables are hard as shit. So that thing's not going to break so easily. Out of Katsuyori Shibata has no idea what to do. His interviewee just got freaking taken out. And then someone walks behind him, turns around. It's Oksana, and she freaking low blows him. And one of the mysterious figures from the corner hits a running headbutt on Katsuyori Shibata, who, of course, has had a bad history with head injuries. So commentators, Jim Cornette is freaking out, like, oh my God, he's going to put him in retirement. He's going to kill him. He's going to cause him to die or some shit. Oh my God. And the two masked men unveil themselves as Vladimir Kozlov and Ilya Dragunov. And Oksana gets on the mic and she says, so they call this title the Intercontinental Championship. This is supposed to represent all the continents, all the nations of the world. Everyone's supposed to be represented with this title. How come a Russian hasn't challenged for this? How come us Russians haven't been able to get that opportunity? You claim to be inclusive to all, yet where have we been? You've kicked us out of Olympics. You've kicked us out of wrestling itself. So we decided we're not going to just stay outside. We're going to kick the damn door down. We're here now. And Claudio, I know you and me have had some history, but that all pales in comparison to the bigger picture here. I'm not fighting for these men. I'm fighting for Mother Russia. And these two men, whether it's Kozlov, whether it's Dragunov, they are going to take that Intercontinental Championship, and they are going to truly represent the greatest, not continent, but the greatest nation on this planet Earth. And so they make their priorities known that Russia is here to take the Intercontinental Championship. Next match, co-main event, one of the biggest, most hyped matches of the show since last Wrestle Kingdom. Israel Adesanya versus Kurt Angle for the King of Pro Wrestling title, with Josh Barnett, obviously UFC guy, in Adesanya's corner, and Jim Cornette in Kurt Angle's corner. For this match, we have, of course, a special commentary team. Joe Rogan and Mike Goldberg from UFC going to commentate the special attraction match. It's been hyped up for over a year. What's going to happen when one of the best MMA stars in history, Israel Adesanya, is going to go up against one of the biggest wrestling stars, one of the best wrestlers in the world, Kurt Angle. It's been hyped up. Adesanya makes his entrance. He's got some UFC buddies with him. He's got you see friggin' Dana White in the crowd cheering on his man. You got some other MMA people out there watching on. Kurt Angle comes out. He's got sort of an American theme coming with him. You got Chad Gable, Jason Jordan walking out with him to the ring. You got freaking all just. It's basically wrestling versus MMA is what this match is, and it is basically a UFC match. These are different rules. Despite being for the King of Pro Wrestling title, it's basically for the King of Sports itself, the King of Combat Sports. And so they have it in sort of a different style of match. It's basically a combination of UFC rules and wrestling rules, where it's 3 5-minute rounds, but pinfalls are also a possibility to do. Three count pinfalls are able to be done. So these two men basically nearly go the distance. They are just absolutely just tearing each other apart. This has been where the major theme of the show has been building up to. All these strong style, technical wrestling masterpieces have been building up to this massive co-main event between Angle and Adesanya. Angle has proven that he still has it. He's friggin' locked in the ankle lock at a few moments, nearly made Adesanya tap quite a few times, but it's not the wrestling ability, it's not the MMA ability that's going to win this match. It's the stamina. But for Kurt Angle, it's just too much. He doesn't have the stamina. He's just gotten too old, unfortunately, and he just has nothing left by near the end of the third round, and it's sad to look at. Jim Cornette's basically crying in the corner as Adesanya is beating the living hell out of Kurt Angle, just kicking him, hitting him with roundhouse kicks to the head, just bashing him with elbows, and it's brutal. Think of just one of the most brutal MMA fights you've ever seen, and that's basically what Adesanya is doing to Kurt Angle, basically. And in the end, Kurt Angle just collapses to the mat, and the referee calls it off. He's not willing to let Angle possibly die. That's how bad it is. That he thinks Angle could be concussed beyond belief. And Israel Adesanya remains the king of pro wrestling, the king of combat sports. And he's basically established himself as the big guy, the big guns of New Japan. And he makes it known in his after post-match promo that he's going to go after the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. He's going to go to the main event. But it's overshadowed by basically the scene that's going on behind him, where there's medical staff like Katsuri Shibata, Wyatt, all these medical personnel, Jim Cornette, all these other just sort of not wrestler talents that are just checking on him to make sure he's going to be all right. And Adesanya's won, but once again, at what cost? At the cost of a career, at the cost of everyone's innocence, watching a childhood hero of theirs get basically decimated. We don't even know if he's going to be all right. They haven't said what happened to him. It's kind of depressing into that coming event. But that's not the end of the show, because we have one more match. The main event, Kota Ibushi defending the IWGP Heavyweight Championship after a 1-year reign against Kazuchika Okada. Ibushi has finally proven himself to be the main man in New Japan. He's proven himself to be the man that New Japan has put all of their effort into make him look like a star. And to continue to prove that, Kota Ibushi decides he's going to enter himself in the G1 Climax. And he makes history as he becomes not only the second or third man in history to win 3 G1 Climaxes, becomes also one of the few men to do it while also being the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. He does this, and he basically says, a lot of people are going to say, I have proven myself. There's nothing really left for me to prove. I've done everything that I can do in New Japan. I've become the heavyweight champion. I've proven that I can be that main guy. I've proven that even then I haven't lost a step. I've beaten 10, 20 other guys to win the IWGP climax, the G1 Climax. But it's not enough. It's not enough for me, because I just have this aching feeling that despite all this, there's still a shadow hanging over me. There's something that just I can't get out of my head that I just haven't done that's pissing me off. Kazuchika Okada, get the hell out here. For those who aren't aware, there's one man in New Japan Pro Wrestling that, despite everything, despite all the accolades, despite all the praise, there's just one thing that Kota Ibushi has not done, and that's beat Kazuchika Okada. He was not able to beat him at Wrestle Kingdom. He was not able to beat him any other time. The one man that he feels that he needs to beat to finally prove himself, to be that main guy that everyone's saying he is. Okada comes out, and Ibushi goes, a lot of people are going to be criticizing me. I promised I was going to give all these other people, Goto, Ishii, the Evil and Sonata, all these great younger talents, the opportunity to shine or whatever. But I can't stay awake another day without knowing I've beaten you, without truly proving that I am the main guy, the face, the true ringleader, the backstage leader that everyone's been saying I am, to truly make my mark here. I need to beat you, Okada. I need to beat you more than you could ever imagine. And Okada, of course, come off his major victory over Kenta Kobashi at Wrestle Kingdom. So Antonio Inoki agrees with this. And because he did win the G1 Climax, he's like, yeah, you can choose whoever the hell you want to face. I don't care. I've freaking Adesanya versus Angle to take care of. That's going to go well. So main event of Wrestle Kingdom, 16, Kota Ibushi versus Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Long freaking match, 40, maybe 50 minutes. Just absolute insanity. It's a typical New Japan match. And it takes so much. It takes everything that Kota Ibushi has. It takes multiple Kamigoyes, multiple Golden Star Bombs, every single move he can come up with. He pulls out a one-winged angel at one point, just pulling off every single move he can think of. And finally, he hits the deadly combination, friggin' Kamigoye into the middle turnbuckle, hits him with a sleeper suplex, and then one more Golden Star Bomb into another Kamigoye, and 1, 2, 3, puts down Kazuchika Okada and makes himself known to be the true face of New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's celebrating in the ring. He's celebrating his accomplishment. But Jay White comes out. White comes out. He said, about that opportunity you were talking about, to give the younger talents a bit of a push. How about you give me an opportunity, I've been thinking about it, and you know what? I think I kind of want that title opportunity. However, he's not the only one. Just as he finished saying that, Israel Adesanya walks out. He says, really? You're going to jump to the front of the line. You weren't even at the last Wrestle Kingdom, and you're going to jump to the front of the line. I think you saw what I did. I beat the shit out of that old man. And people are booing the hell out of Adesanya. Jim Cornette's screaming, how dare you drag Angle's name to the mud, you son of a bitch. How dare you do that? You nearly killed him. Basically, he's making himself known. And then Kozlov and Dragunov walk out. Oksana gets on the mic, and she says, "And a warning to you as well. We may have warned Tsar already, but we're not here to take over just the Intercontinental title division. We're here to take over this entire company. Mother Russia is going to have their day. We're taking over this whole company, whether you like it or not." And so you have this sort of six-way stare down between all these people who could possibly be the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. And then the lights go out, and there is a face on the big screen, a mask of sorts. And that mask belongs to Mil Muertes. And, of course, you saw him freaking go to hell or whatever at the beginning of the show. And he just says, in Spanish, off the speakers, it rings out. It says, "I may be in hell, but I ain't afraid to drag all of you down with me." And close out the show, and that is Wrestle Kingdom 16. Sorry if I went a little too long.
Hey, it's all right. Round of applause for Nick.
No need.
Damn. All right. Well, that was a good storyline there. So, Wyatt,
Good job, Nick.
you can go ahead and start.
All right. I'm sure that everyone has waited for me for so long to do this, right?
Yep.
All right. One night on Monday Night Raw. Okay, ever since Bobby Lashley was on a hot winning streak lately, after 15 wins and 0 losses and a hot winning streak through the summer of 2021, Bobby Lashley wants bigger and better competition. So, MVP and Bobby Lashley try to find a better competitor backstage. Ever since then, Bobby Lashley and MVP travel to Paul Heyman. And MVP goes like, "Paul, you got a minute, don't you? What do you need?" Well, I think it's time to understand here that Bob, my man, the CEO of the Hurt Business, Bob Lashley, is going to take on your little lazy-ass client, Brock Lesnar, and we will challenge him in SummerSlam. What, Brock Lesnar? Why would you want Bobby Lashley to fight my client, Brock Lesnar? Well, all I know is Brock's probably his lazy ass home in bed because, he's probably, Brock Lesnar's quarantined. He can't help it, Mr. MVP. Well, you can contact him or his wife, Sable, and bring his ass down here because Bobby is here for bigger competition. So, after a 4-week wait, Paul Heyman finally gets in touch with Brock Lesnar, and Paul Heyman says, "Brock, I think Bobby Lashley wants to fight you at SummerSlam." Brock Lesnar answers, "Well, you know what? Ever since I've been in my quarantine, I'll see his ass in the Thunderdome next week." So, after Bobby Lashley makes a win on Monday Night Raw after defeating Sheamus, you hear Brock Lesnar's theme music hit. Brock Lesnar approaches to the ring and says, Bobby Lashley says to Lesnar, "Brock, I'm challenging you in a UFC octagon match for the first time ever at SummerSlam." Brock Lesnar says, "Let me tell you something. The Thunderdome's a piece of shit. The octagon's a piece of shit. But Lashley, I'm coming for you, motherfucker." So, the following week, Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley decide to have themselves a contract signing to make the match official. So, therefore, Paul Heyman talked for Lesnar the entire time because Brock Lesnar's lost his voice the entire day. So, Paul Heyman says, "After this Sunday at SummerSlam MVP, my client is going to take your CEO to the most dangerous city in the Octagon, and that is Suplex City. And you will be going one-on-one with the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of all time, Brock Lesnar. So, at SummerSlam, the match becomes official. So, Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley brawl each other so hard as they go from a fist punch to a fist punch to a tight hold, and that went from blood dripping everywhere, scrapes from the cages. And until then, Brock Lesnar catches Bobby Lashley in the F5. Lashley reverses it, hits a spear. It's not enough for Brock Lesnar to get up. Brock Lesnar pulls the gloves off, punches Lashley. Lashley is cold down on the ground here. The referee, and then Brock Lesnar puts him in a Kimura lock. Bobby Lashley has to end up tapping out, and then Bobby Lashley there is laid there, collapsed, unable to move. And Brock Lesnar was able to retrieve victory that night. And Brock Lesnar was able to become the better cage fighter. And Brock Lesnar is just Brock Lesnar. The next rivalry is going to be Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, Riddle, and a partner of their choosing against Retribution. So, backstage on Monday Night Raw, Jeff Hardy has had some issues. Randy, I know that I know Retribution's gotten on your mind lately. I know one of your former tag team partners is the leader of that group. But can you work with me to get Retribution out of here? Because Retribution has driven me insane. They won't stop following me, looking out for me, trying to get up in my business, trying to do everything to bother me and irritate me all week. It's pissing me the hell off, Randy. Can you work with me here? Jeff, I've never liked working with people. Ever since Evolution betrayed me, ever since I broke up the legacy, I've never wanted to work with people. And I'm going to tell you, Jeff, I've never gotten along with you. I never wanted to work with you. And I don't even like you. So, do you think I would want to work with you? No. So the next week, Retribution attacks Randy Orton's backup buddy, Ted DiBiase Jr. So Ted DiBiase Jr. gets attacked backstage, and Randy Orton thinks it's Jeff Hardy. So Randy Orton screams and cusses out Jeff Hardy, saying, "What the hell would you attack my tag team partner? What the hell is your issue? Are you the one doing this plan?" And Jeff's like, "Hell no. I have nothing to do with it. It's probably Retribution." So what happens is, until then, Randy Orton got to have a match later on Monday Night Raw against Ricochet. So Randy Orton, after defeating Ricochet in 15 seconds, Retribution was able to come out and attack Randy Orton. And then Jeff Hardy comes out with a steel chair trying to hit Slapjack, Mason T-Bar, and Sonya Deville. And Jeff Hardy was able to scare off Retribution in case. And Jeff Hardy's like, "Look at this, Randy. I saved you. Are you happy now?" That doesn't solve anything, Jeff. You were just there to just scare off Retribution, and I appreciate that. So then, at Extreme Rules, as you got to see Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke backstage having control out of the jar bin, in the box you could draw out a piece of paper, and that will be the match that they will be fighting as the night is extreme. So Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, as Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy got to approach to Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose is like, "Well, boys, I'm glad you're here. So you want me to draw a paper out of the box, and we will find out what match you two are going." And Dana says, "Wait for it, boys. Glad you asked. You two will be fighting in a last man standing match." So Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy go from a broken table, a chair shot, through the announce table, off the top rope, a barbed wire 2x4, a trash can, anything they can to beat the shit out of each other as much as they hate each other. Till then, Retribution comes on a video clip, and Retribution says, as Retribution says, well, Randy and Jeff, I see you two are beating the shit out of each other this entire time. So why not this? Randy, I think we got our hands on your father. So Retribution kidnaps Randy Orton's dad, Cowboy Bob Orton. So Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy seem like they're going to go on good terms. And they head off to SummerSlam. So the following weeks, as they had some issues, they were able to pick up a buddy, and that was Riddle, even though Randy Orton and Riddle were on good terms. So Riddle comes in, as much as Riddle wants his handfuls on Retribution, Riddle is able to say, well, what are these dudes doing? This looks like we're in Call of Duty, or should I say Call of Broti. So, bro, how about SummerSlam I join you guys? Well, that night, Batista says, well, Randy, looks like you guys are on good terms as much as we paralyzed Ted DiBiase Jr. to death. We are challenging you guys in a War Games melee match at SummerSlam. And if we lose, we will be gone forever. So Retribution sneaks into the following Wednesday. Retribution sneaks into the Daily's Palace to AEW, and they kidnap Matt Hardy. So at SummerSlam, Randy Orton, Riddle, and Jeff Hardy were able to find a tag team partner. Ever since all the entrance music hits, their partner is the hardcore legend, Mick Foley. Bang, bang! So, Randy Orton, as Mick Foley still got it, does a diving elbow drop from the cage through putting Slapjack through a table, an RKO, to a Swanton, to a Final Flash, and therefore it hits from Retribution. Retribution was able to claim victory ever since Batista was able to pin Mick Foley. What an Ultimate War Games match we got to have there at SummerSlam. But the twist was this. Randy Orton planned all this the entire time. Randy Orton plans all this kidnapping, all this incidents and invasions, all of Retribution. Randy Orton planned that all along. So that was that. All right, next rivalry will be Lacey Evans versus Mickie James versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. So Lacey Evans becomes the Raw Women's Champion after defeating Asuka at Money in the Bank. After WrestleMania. So Lacey Evans bosses around the entire women's locker room on Monday Night Raw saying, "Oh, sweethearts, look at me. I've looked so rich and sweet with this title. None of y'all, honey, are going to have a chance against me. Ain't that right, Rick? Woo! Yes, right, you got it. Because you're messing with the styling, profiling, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun." So, Lacey, as therefore all the women backstage won a competition. From Peyton Royce to Mandy Rose to Dana Brooke to Asuka to Mickie James to Shayna Baszler. Therefore, as of myself and Bruce Pritchard, we decide ourselves here, all these women are great to have on our roster. Lacey Evans, you've been a great champion. You've been hell of a great performer, and therefore you are a beautiful woman. But we're going to tell you this. The women deserve it. That's why tonight on Raw, we were going to have an 8-woman battle royal, and the winner will go on to face you at SummerSlam. So, as of the battle royal that night, from the elimination to elimination, the final 2 were Asuka and Mickie James. So Asuka and Mickie James, as Asuka tries to go, as Lacey Evans gets on the top rope, distracts Asuka, tries to in the woman's right. Asuka ducks. Asuka goes the mist. Hits Lacey Evans as Mickie James tries to throw her over the rope. Mickie James aims the mixed kicks. Asuka ducks. Asuka reverses it into a suplex, and that gets them both eliminated, and there was therefore not a winner. So myself, Izai decided we'll have them 2 in a match next week, and as I announced it on social media, we'll put them 2 in a match next week, and we will find out who the real winner is. So that match ends up in a double count out, and I'm like, how are we going to find the real winner? So Lacey Evans, I know you've been in a lot of singles matches in your title reign, but we're going to do something different. A triple threat match. So, as the build-up to SummerSlam goes, after Lacey Evans hits from a woman's right to a Mick kick to an Asuka lock, ever since Asuka did a diving across the rope, hitting Mickie James and Lacey Evans up at a loud shot at the barricade. Asuka tries to aim the Asuka lock to Lacey Evans as Lacey Evans tries to aim for the tap. Mickie James breaks it out. And then, what happens next? It looks like Mickie James seems to take off the turnbuckle and a steel metal's there. Lacey Evans aims it, hits her head, dizzy out of nowhere, and Asuka kicks Ric Flair off the ring. And then Asuka gets distracted. Mickie James into the mid kick to Asuka. Hits it Lacey Evans. 1, 2, 3. New Raw Women's Champion, Mickie James. But what happens now? The most shocking faction debut happens. Lana enters the ring with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke as they form themselves as the blonde bombshell attacking Lacey Evans, Asuka, and Mickie James and then they slammed all three of them at one time through the announce table, and therefore they were the most as we will find them as the most interesting next trio on Monday Night Raw, and we will see where that takes place as this continues. Will one of them get a future shot for the Raw Women's Championship? We'll see. Okay. The Hurt Business, as the Hurt Business have had it kicked off a good title reign so far after defeating teams like Alex Ryleigh and Riddick Moss, Brian Kendrick and Paul London and Rinku and Serve. The Hurt Business was able to strike a retain ever since Shelton Benjamin hit the pay dirt on the Brian Kendrick after a big retain there. So the Hurt Business gets to have a match the next night against Alex Ryleigh and Riddick Moss. Alex Ryleigh and Riddick Moss almost had the shot. Ever since then, the Hurt Business was able to continue a reign, but Rinku and Surov seem out of nowhere that they want a tag team title opportunity with the Hurt Business, so they had to wait a while. So at SummerSlam, all the matches were booked. Oh, yeah. So as of that, as I come to them, I know all the Raw Tag Division was whining and complaining because they never got to have a match at SummerSlam. I'm like, listen, I don't tolerate any bullshit whining, pissing and moaning, complaining, and you all sitting on social media all day pissing and whining. All I'm going to tell you is this. Y'all are great tag teams, but this is something I'm not going to tolerate on my brand. If you want to do that, stay the hell home. That's why tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw, we will have the Hurt Business defending the Raw Tag Team titles, which is Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, against the Brian Kendrick and Paul London, Rinku and Serve with Jinder Mahal, Alex Ryleigh and Riddick Moss, and Elias and Jackson Riker, in a gauntlet match for the Raw Tag Team Championships. So, Asuka, as the Hurt Business enter their way to the ring, as they start things off with Kendrick and London. Kendrick and London hit from a rolling senton to a shooting star press, their high-flying excellent skills as Kendrick puts Cedric Alexander in the captain's hook. Cedric gets out of it, and Cedric gets out of it. One bar check. 1, 2, 3. Next team approaches. So the next team comes out, and it is Rinku and Serov as they dominate. MVP, scaring him off in sight. And MVP and Jinder Mahal brawl each other outside the ring ever since Bobby Lashley was able to hit a spear to Jinder Mahal and chase him off. Rinku and Serov were able to dominate that match and shockingly eliminate the Hurt Business ever since Rinku and Serov lifted up Shelton Benjamin to the air, to the ground with a 3-count pinfall. Then Rinku and Serov were able to advance as they took on Alex Ryleigh and Riddick Moss. Shockingly, Alex Ryleigh hits the Hawaiian Smasher, lift up DDT onto Serov Serve kicks out at 2. So they brawl outside the ring the entire time. Riddick Moss ends up becoming the legal man, and Riddick Moss ends up in the ring, and that way, Rinku and Serve were eliminated by countout. The final team ends up becoming Elias and Jackson Riker. Jackson Riker comes from behind, throwing Alex Ryleigh to the barricade and clotheslining him outside the match. And then the match never even started. Elias whacks his guitar right through Riddick Moss's head. And then the match started. 1, 2, 3. New Raw Tag Team Champions as the Thunderdome will be walking with Elias. Elias says, well, as you see, we got new Raw Tag Team Champions. This whole brand will be supporting me as what I do for my best. But you will walk with Elias. Because no one on this tag division. So, you all, as me and Jackson Riker, will hold these Raw Tag Team Champions. Everyone in the Thunderdome will be silencing their cell phones, holding their applause, and while we defend them, y'all most importantly will shut your mouths. But they seem like they had a good run. Next up is Rob Van Dam with Peyton Royce versus R-Truth. All right, Rob Van Dam every time Rob Van Dam would wrestle, there would be a trash can outside the ring just sitting there. And we spotted that for 2 straight months, ever since after WrestleMania. So, what happens is, Rob Van Dam, Peyton Royce spots it. And she ends up becoming Rob Van Dam's new girlfriend, if anyone didn't know. So RVD, every time he would wrestle and have a segment, there would be that trash can sitting there. So, Rob Van Dam finds out who's in the trash can. Who is it? R-Truth. Rob Van Dam says, dude, what in your fucking confused mind thinks that you would want to be in a trash can outside the ring every time I wrestle in my matches? Well, Truth says, well, I think I'm tired of you picking on little Jimmy because he's shorter than you. You gotta pick on little Jimmy. Who in the damn hell's little Jimmy? You never heard of little Jimmy? Well, I don't care about little Jimmy, but please stop following me from wherever I go. I don't care what you do, but please stop putting a trash can over you every time I matches. So the next week comes, it gets worse. R-Truth finds the trash can, but what ends up in it? Peyton Royce's ring gear, and R-Truth never even realized it. So Peyton Royce was unable to have her ring gear, so that ended up Peyton Royce having a towel over her. And Rob Van Dam's like, don't tell me that idiot took your ring gear. I think he did took my ring gear. I don't know what happened, Rob. Well, as Rob Van Dam says, well, babe, we're gonna get hot in the hot tub tonight. What I'm gonna do to R-Truth is the same thing I'm gonna do to Grand Metalik tonight on Monday Night Raw because I'm nothing but Rob Van Dam. So Rob Van Dam, after he squashes Grand Metalik jumping off the rope to a trash can, squashing Grand Metalik's face, squashed. So that leads to R-Truth versus Rob Van Dam, not in a trash can match, but where trash cans go, and that is a dumpster match where you've got to put your opponent in the dumpster and put the lid shut. So they got to have a match at Extreme Rules. Rob Van Dam ever since Rob Van Dam and R-Truth got to have a match, Peyton Royce slips herself over in the dumpster, and therefore she was able to almost hit a move to R-Truth, but R-Truth tries to get out of the way. But what happens now? Surprisingly, Lana shows up, and we hear that there was clips of that Rob Van Dam almost cheated on Lana for Peyton Royce because Rob Van Dam and Lana dated only for 3 weeks. So as they found that, R-Truth was able to hit the little Jimmy on Rob Van Dam, and R-Truth accidentally hits the elbow, hits Rob Van Dam in the dumpster. Lana pushes the lid shut. Match is over. R-Truth wins. What's up? The next rivalry is this. Drew McIntyre is on a hot roll lately. So Christian seems to really has been really impressed with McIntyre. So for weeks, Christian keeps offering McIntyre. Can I help you? Can I please manage for you? I'm going to improve you to get the WWE Championship back like you've done for a long time. So that's that. That's why for myself, I will help you, Drew. Well, I don't think I need your help because I am Drew McIntyre and I have been who I've been. So get your ass out of my eyesight and stop bothering me. Well, Christian got to interview McIntyre on the Peep Show, and Christian got to ask him all these questions. But Christian offers him again, and Drew declines. So, therefore, Drew McIntyre was able to have a match against Bobby Lashley. So, later that night, Drew hits the Claymore to Bobby Lashley and takes the win. And then Christian comes from behind, hits a low blow on McIntyre, and Christian announces his newest client, Daba Kato. So, as of that, Daba Kato was able to make his rival return to Monday Night Raw and said, Shane McMahon, he's managed by Christian. So, from Daba Kato injuring Drew McIntyre, since Drew McIntyre was going to have a 2-week injury, since Daba Kato collapsed him, slams him through the announce table. Drew McIntyre gets to be on a virtual segment and says, well, I know, Daba Kato. I know that you have been busting everyone's ass lately, and I know your little bitch, Christian. You're nothing. I'm going to tell you this. At SummerSlam, I want bigger competition. I've beaten the Big Show. I've beaten Brock Lesnar. I've beaten so many giants. But I know you're the rising rookie. You conquered Raw Underground. But at SummerSlam, I want you. And that's why you got 3 seconds. And you are going to get that juicy Claymore kick through that jaw. After I beat you, you will be nothing but Christian's bitch. So at SummerSlam, McIntyre makes that epic entrance, hits a Claymore. Daba Kato throws him, spears him through a barricade. After a dominant melee, McIntyre hits another Claymore. Does another throw from Daba Kato. Out of nowhere, Drew McIntyre hits a Claymore onto Daba Kato, and Daba Kato bleeds from the side of his head, and McIntyre was able to claim victory and even Claymore Christian for sike's sake, but the rivalry just wasn't over. But that was a dominant melee that we wanted to see at SummerSlam. 2 big men with a lot of potential go at it. So we got to see now Keith Lee and AJ Styles got to have a match themselves. So at Extreme Rules, we got to see Keith Lee and we got to see AJ Styles make a dominant retain over Sheamus and The Miz in a triple threat match. The next night, The Miz says, well, welcome to the most must-see WWE Championship television show in history. Welcome to Miz TV. Yes, that's right. And Miz TV, we are here to ask you, AJ, with your bodyguard, Omos. AJ, what is next for you? Well, I'm going to tell you what's more competition. I don't care anyone who wants to find me at SummerSlam. As long as it's not Keith Lee, I'm good. Because I've been damn hell of a United States champion as I took it off Drew McIntyre's ass. And I'm going to prove it to the universe itself that I know I'm going to prove it. So, after that, Keith Lee, if Keith Lee could win a match against The Miz, John Morrison, and Sheamus, Keith Lee was able to have a match with AJ Styles at SummerSlam. But if Keith Lee lost, it was going to be a fatal 5-way match. So, Keith Lee was able to therefore lift up powerbomb on all 3 men and hit the victory. And Keith Lee was able to fight AJ Styles at SummerSlam ever since Keith Lee comes into the ring Keith Lee goes from a rolling senton outside the ring. AJ Styles hits the phenomenal forearm. AJ Styles hits a Styles Clash from the top rope out of nowhere from an amazing 5-star match we saw in both men ever since they were able to build themselves up. Keith Lee was able to crown himself as the new United States champion. So, the next one is the Hurricane. Angel Garza, after an embarrassing loss he had to against Kofi Kingston, Angel Garza was lost his wallet. Angel Garza lost his wallet, lost all his money in his wallet. He still had his driver's license and his card and stuff, but Angel Garza needed cash because the places he was going to wasn't accept card. So Angel Garza went to the beach and he started his own kissing booth. Since Angel Garza is the ladies' man. So Angel Garza got to have enough flowers and enough soap to have the kissing booth. So every time Angel Garza gave a woman a kiss, one of the women ended up having a referee bikini. Then the Hurricane rolls over and the woman in the referee bikini goes 1, 2, 3. Hurricane jumps up. Hurricane claims victory out of nowhere. Then what happens now? Here comes Xavier Woods rolling up. 1, 2, 3. And Xavier Woods goes off. From Xavier Woods to Grand Metalik to Ricochet. They were all going through the beach, and people were excited to see what they were seeing. Then the Hurricane jumped up in the air. Landon was able to claim back the championship. And then Garza rolls under onto the Hurricane. And Garza went, and the referee, and the normal referee came out and went, 1, 2, 3. And therefore, that led to Garza claiming back the championship. And Garza took off to the SmackDown Hotel. That was a road across, right across the street from the Thunderdome. I'm sorry, my speech. So, what happens there? Hurricane comes confronting Xavier Woods, Ricochet, and Grand Metalik saying, well, we all 3 failed. All 4 failed to claim that title. And I gave that woman that referee bikini. And now she gave up on it. And now I'm not champion. What's up with that? So the Hurricane arrived. As they arrived through the hotel, Angel Garza tries to find a place to hide. So therefore, he was not able to have no sight of the Hurricane. So Angel Garza was able to walk through a hotel to room, and therefore Angel Garza was able to thought he had a date because he ended up hooking up with a woman on the beach. So Angel Garza was trying to find her room, and then Angel Garza ended up in the wrong room, and he jumped on the bed in the hotel room, and there was already someone on the bed and someone under the bed. The person under the bed was Hornswoggle. And the person on the bed, Antwan Clark. Antwan, and then Angel Garza is like, no, Antwan's like, hey, what are you doing on my bed? You go find your bed and you find a room and your own bed and you go lie in it. And then Antwan Clark continuously forced him to leave. And Angel Garza was like, no, this isn't what you think. I'm just trying to protect my title. I was maybe have you guys help me. And Hornswoggle bited Angel Garza's leg, trying to get him out. And then Angel Garza tried to have his deep feelings like, then I really hope my lady is there for me. And then the shower turns off. And it's Antwan's girlfriend. Who is it? Mae Young. Then Mae Young's like, Garza, I never knew you cared for me so much. Here, you want to see my puppies? Come here, baby. No, this isn't what you think. No. And Angel Garza runs from there, scared of Mae Young's puppies. And he just ran. He ran. He ran right by Sergeant Slaughter, right by Santino Marella, right by Junkyard Dog, right by the Boogeyman, smackdown right in the middle of King Kong Bundy's balls. So, what happens then? Garza was unable to find his date, and then he leaves. The Hurricane jumps off the hotel roof, land slammed on Garza. Referee, 1, 2, 3, and Hurricane's new champion. The final rivalry, everyone. Final rivalry. So, therefore, Edge has always wanted to, ever since Edge was able to become WWE champion at WrestleMania. Edge wanted to have a match with Bray Wyatt, and therefore, after Edge got to have a winning victory at Money in the Bank against AJ Styles. So at that point, Edge decides he wants Bray Wyatt as his opponent. So Alexa Bliss got to say, "Welcome to Alexa's playground, Edge." Edge like, "Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, sweetheart. I know you transformed from Harley Quinn to a dark villain from Marvel or DC or whatever. But I'm going to tell you, you go find Bray Wyatt and tell him I want his ass out here and I want him at Extreme Rules." Well, I don't know if I'm ready to let the Fiend in at my playground, but the Eater of Worlds is waiting for an opportunity. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you. You can have the Eater of Worlds, whoever he is. I thought that man was dead. So, they got to have Edge versus the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt, in an Extreme Rule, in a Falls Count Anywhere match at Extreme Rules. So, Edge got to finally have his hands on him. From Edge hitting a spear to a chair shot through a table, Edge was able to claim victory and defeat the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt. So the following, Alexa Bliss comes and says, "I think I'm ready to let him in." So Bray Wyatt says, "Hello, Fireflies. I think you kind of waited. Edge, we're going to spell the word jackass. EDGE. You know what? I'm going to tell you, you can let him in at Extreme Rules. But I'm going to you can let him in at SummerSlam. But you can continue your season finale of Blue's Clues and get your ass out here. Because me waiting too long has been enough. So I will let him in." So at SummerSlam, that match was able to be a hardcore match, and that led to Edge doing his hardest to defeat the Fiend, and the Fiend was so strong. He speared the Fiend through the barricade, used a 2x4 with fire on it to whack the Fiend with it, doing everything he could to put it down, but there was no use. The Fiend's hand was melting, shoving it down Edge's throat. Some of the grease was swallowing down Edge, and the Fiend became new WWE champion. So after the match, I ended up saying, "You remember that UFC Octagon match, right, Fiend? You know that match actually had a stipulation to it. The winner of that match earlier tonight against the Octagon was supposed to have a challenge for the WWE champion later that night. So what happens? Brock Lesnar's theme music hits. And I say to myself, Brock Lesnar and The Fiend are going to officially main event SummerSlam. So as The Fiend is trying to have his hardest to get up, Brock Lesnar hits a dominant clothesline. German suplex. After German suplex, Paul Heyman's jumping like a cheerleader. And then Brock Lesnar gets the Fiend on the shoulders. F5! Brock Lesnar, 1, 2, 3, and Brock Lesnar becomes WWE champion again. And that leads as we will continue all these storylines, we'll continue at Clash of Champions, Hell in a Cell, and Survivor Series, whatever you call it. I know this has been a long episode. Everyone can unmute themselves and give their opinions.
Wow. That was a lot.
Wow.
That's a lot of good stuff right there.
Damn. Okay.
Good storytelling or what?
Yes,
Good.
I definitely I loved the progression of the Angel Garza 24/7 title story.
That was pretty good.
Yes.
Anyways, that's all for the fantasy booking episode, I guess. So,
Yeah, that was everything. Jeez.
shall we get to our outros?
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you all so much for checking out this episode of the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast, the fastest wrestling podcast in all of professional wrestling, where we did another fantasy booking edition. These are always fun to do, and the next time we do a fantasy booking episode, I believe, is on Saturday night, February 20th, for another recording.
The night before the chamber.
Yes. So, enjoy the Royal Rumble tomorrow night at the time of recording, and also follow everybody here. Subscribe to this podcast and the loudest podcast and all music, the Moshcast, where we talk about some music. Album reviews are coming up, and our next recording is going to be the Royal Rumble recap episode. A bunch of good episodes coming up on both podcasts. Anyways, that's my outro. Nicholas.
Hey everybody, for somehow managing to sit through all 400 hours of our booking. Hope you all enjoyed our creativity and our imaginations. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and make sure you subscribe also to the Moshcast. Make sure you follow all these people on whatever social media they have. Make sure to subscribe. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want. Nick Loves Wrestling. You can also subscribe to that. And just overall have a really good day, basically. Just do well. And find your bed.
Alright, Ryleigh.
Wow, that was a crazy first episode. I didn't think I could get that creative, but I guess I gotta use my brain next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy, but yeah, while you're at it, follow my TikTok. We're getting up there. And follow my Instagram, Find your bed, be well, and love your animals before I take them from you.
Yes, and make sure she can sim for some of them.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, she has so many boyfriends.
That's not true.
What?
You have Francis, Sam, etc.
That's a secret.
Yeah, I never said any of that. Okay.
Can I go now?
Yes, why end it off?
Hope you all enjoyed. Good night.
Alright, well, rock on, keep on moshing. Remember to crash and burn, and in tribute to the Tuck Your Chin podcast. RIP, by the way. Tuck Your Chin.
Have a good look at you.
Okay. No, Ryleigh. Say your line in respect to Tuck Your
No,
Chin.
I can't. I can't. I already did.
You already did? Okay. Okay, well, subscribe to Crash and Burn the Moshcast. That's all.
Yep.
Rock on, everybody.
Rock
See you
on.
next time.
Crash and burn!